Okay, in stare decisis, what we're doing is we're finding those arguments that the majority makes where they're saying, here's what courts have done in the past. And at the Supreme Court level, we're often looking at what the Supreme Court has said about this provision of the Constitution in the past. So past Supreme Court decisions. You've read the section on common law systems as compared to civil law systems, and the defining difference between these two systems is that in a common law system, when a high court, when the Supreme Court says, here's what this provision of the Constitution means, that carries with it the force of law. All courts below have to follow that precedent. Now, what about the Supreme Court itself? Does it have to follow its own precedent? No. It can overturn past decisions. It does overturn past decisions, and sometimes it'll come straight out and say, the case we decided back in 1961 is no longer good law. We're overturning it. Other times they'll say, well, we're going to differ from it, or we're going to use a different basis, and they'll kind of sidestep the issue of stare decisis. Now, those who are in favor of maintaining what the court has done in the past will make a stare decisis argument. They'll say, look at what the court said here, and we need to keep this precedent. We shouldn't have flip-flop and nobody knows what the law is. We need to have consistency, and it's this is a good doctrine that's been around for a long time. Those who want to change the law aren't necessarily going to say, oh, we can just ignore what happened in the past. They will try to show a change in circumstances. Society has changed. This is no longer appropriate. This doctrine doesn't work anymore. They'll cite problems with it, and they'll say, well, it's time to reevaluate this. It's time to take a second look at what the court did in the past, and they'll point to all the problems that happened with it. And so you can make a stare decisis argument, and it's persuasive, but at the Supreme Court level, just know that the court can and does overturn past decisions. Polling jurisdictions, this is just another persuasive tool saying that, well, look at what other courts had to say about the meaning of this term. That should inform your understanding of this, what you think about it, especially if it's a real vague term. If a vast majority of the courts think it means A, that's pretty persuasive. Pragmatism is when you're looking at the consequences. So you might have a clause that's open to several interpretations. Well, what are the results of each of those interpretations going to be? And if you want to make a good pragmatic argument, you say, if you interpret this one way, that's going to have terrible consequences, terrible results. If you interpret it my way, then we're going to avoid that bad outcome, that bad consequence. Okay, so make sure you have a good understanding of each of these methods of legal interpretation, and that you're able to spot them in the cases that we read.